Mission Impossible Fallout, the sixth movie in the series, is a bit of a rare phenomenon in modern movie making because it's a movie that both audiences and critics enjoyed. It's the most financially successful movie in the series so far, and in terms of the narrative, the most interesting. It pushes the characters, well, mostly Ethan Hunt, the furthest, and the action is up to the high standards the previous two movies set. The only minor quibble I have with calling it the best movie of the series is that so much of Fallout's success is built on how, really, it's a sequel to the previous movie. Sure, you can watch Fallout without seeing Rogue Nation, but for me, it's the further development of characters and other elements from Rogue Nation that really elevate Fallout into being widely regarded as the franchise peak. Some spoilers here, obviously. Rebecca Ferguson returns as Ilsa Faust. I'd argue her reintroduction in this movie, spoilers here, how she finishes the bathroom fight and then the camera lingers on her face for a few seconds like we should know who she is. Without the context of the previous movie, Ilsa arriving just in time to save them feels slightly like a cheap plot convenience. With the context of the previous movie, that scene makes much more sense. I'm prepared to overlook the sense of convenience a bit more. So let's talk about the plot. The IMF are chasing down 3 plutonium cores, going to be used in attacks by a man known as John Lark, who hires the organisation known in Rogue Nation as the Syndicate and now known as the Apostles to steal those cores. But this is misdirection. What the Apostles really want is the release of their leader Solomon Lane, who spent the last couple of years being interrogated by numerous foreign governments, basically getting passed from country to country like a tasty plate of meat they all want a piece of. Through intermediaries, the Apostles make a deal. If the IMF breaks Solomon Lane out of prison, the Apostles will give them the plutonium cores. This forces the IMF into the awkward situation of needing to attack the foreign governments holding Solomon Lane, while dealing with CIA interference in the form of Henry Cavill's August Walker, and trying to work out who John Lark actually is and stop him getting the plutonium cores. It's an intricate sounding plot that the movie handles well, with lots of the misdirection, deception and depth that used to be present in many movies, but is now more often found in TV and streaming shows. Fallout puts a lot of focus into developing the character of Ethan Hunt. In the opening scene, we see him fail to get the plutonium cores, as he chooses to prioritise saving a member of his team over the mission itself. And this is a question he seems to face relentlessly. Save the individual or save the world is a running theme of the movie, and I think this is achieved through Sean Harris as Solomon Lane. As well as the conflict between the Apostles and the IMF, there's a huge sense of a personal battle between Ethan Hunt and Solomon, with Solomon taunting him about his need to try and save literally everyone at any cost. You really get the feeling with Solomon that this is a character who's been altered by his time in prison, not particularly physically capable, but possessed of strong determination. It's a great way of going further into the character of Ethan without stopping the action and making him stand around and talk about his feelings too much. The main antagonist of Rogue Nation, he did a good job in that movie. He did an okay job in that movie, but here I think he gives a spectacular performance. It's the voice, the way he articulates his words, the sense of despair that he evokes, how he probes and pushes at the growing sense of fear in the Impossible Missions team. Rebecca Ferguson as Ilsa Faust is also great. The way they get her back into the narrative feels a little bit forced in the context of the last movie, and maybe a bit more explanation of her motivation, like why she's so unwilling to reveal things to the IMF, would help. And the conflict between her and Ethan feels a little bit manufactured, but it's an awkwardness that I kind of feel like, so what? Overall, it works well. Luther and Benji get a bit of a backseat in this movie, and the big new addition is Henry Cavill. He plays a CIA agent, August Walker, tagging along with Tom Cruise. He's a much more muscular version of a spy compared to the IMF team, and a good replacement for Jeremy Renner. Cavill and Cruise's first big scene together is a great example of revealing character through action. They're jumping out of a plane, planning to land in Paris. Walker gets arrogant and gets into trouble on the way down. Ethan Hunt has to literally bail him out, but when they both land safely, Walker shows no gratitude or even any acknowledgement that he did anything wrong or that Ethan helped him. And the action itself is up to the standard expected. The bathroom scene is very rewatchable. The usual running scene that we get with the cruiser provides a bit of humour. The long scene in Paris, breaking Solomon Lane out of the motorcade, is great, but the Ilsa Faust parts feel slightly tacked on. But honestly, I'm being really picky here. Mission Impossible offers the best action in modern movies. Consider the alternatives. In 2025 so far, there have been 2 MCU movies, and in both of those, the final quote-unquote action scene involved asking the villain to just stop, and they did. Another alternative to Mission Impossible would be the Fast and Furious movies, which are basically superhero movies in disguise. Parachutes, space, tanks, and all that. Mission Impossible blows both of these out of the water, and Fallout is arguably the best. I say arguable because I don't think Rogue Nation really gets the credit it deserves for laying the groundwork so Fallout could outdo it. So this one, I strongly recommend you check it out. Thanks for watching.